Hello, my lovely rose garden. I'm Avalon,
And I'm Ray.
and we're back with a very short chapter of Throne of Glass.
I think you mean throne of ass.
It do be ass. It do be. Alright, well, you know what's not ass? Our books.
Yeah.
All of which you can get on our coffee shop or from any other book retailer online. Winnie's very excited about it, apparently. She's jingling away over there. Uh, The Ko-fi is great, especially if you want ebooks, because it's a minimum of $1, but it's pay what you want. That is the lowest price available, I think, anywhere online. So if you want to give me a tip, you can. If you really can't afford it, it's just $1 to get the books. Or if you become one of my supporters for $5 a month, you get all of my ebooks at once. And that is only going to get better with time because now it is 5 ebooks for $5. So that's pretty awesome. And as more books come out, it'll be less than $1 for each book. So just something to think about, something to consider. And if you can't support us with money, that's fine. We get it. If you would subscribe, like the video, leave a comment, that also helps a ton. And without any further ado,
Here we go.
guess whose POV we're in today? Lady Caltaine.
I think you mean Catherine.
I'm honestly considering Cowbell.
No, I like her well enough.
Yeah, I mean, she's a bitch, but, like, she's a good bitch.
At least the narrative acknowledges she's a bitch, unlike Celery. Fucking
Alyssa Clee's ass.
Alyssa Clee's ass.
Like, she's a bitch, but she's a bitch with ambitions.
Yes.
Girl wants to be queen, and I'm like, girl, get your bag. Anyway, Catherine pinched her cheeks as she emerged from the dressing room. Her servant sprayed perfume, and the young woman gulped down sugar water before putting her hand on the door. She'd been in the midst of smoking a pipe when Duke Parrington had been announced. She'd fled into the dressing room and changed her clothes, hoping the scent wouldn't linger. If he found out about the opium, she could just blame it on the horrible headaches she'd been having lately. Catherine passed through her bedroom into the foyer and then into the sitting room. He looked ready for battle as always. "Your Grace," she said, curtsying. The world was foggy around the edges, and her body felt heavy. Damn, she's got to talk to this guy while high, too.
She's like,
Damn. He kissed her hand when she offered it, his lips soggy against her skin. Their eyes met as he looked up from her hand, and a piece of the world slipped away. How far would she go to secure her position at Dorian's side? "I hope I didn't disturb you," he said, releasing her hand. The walls of the room appeared, and the floor and the ceiling, and she had the distinct feeling that she was trapped in a box, a lovely cage filled with tapestries and cushions. "I was only napping, my lord," she said, sitting down. He sniffed, and Catherine would have felt immensely nervous were it not for the drug curling around her mind. "To what do I owe the pleasure of this unexpected visit?" "I wish to inquire after you. I didn't see you at dinner." Parrington crossed his arms that looked capable of crushing her skull. "I was indisposed." She resisted the urge to rest her too heavy head on the couch. He said something to her, but she found that her ears had stopped hearing. His skin seemed to harden and glaze over. His what? His skin seemed to harden and glaze over.
okay.
And
Either she's like really tripping or that's incorrect.
or there's maybe he's Kane's sponsor. I assume they're in magical cahoots.
Mm-hmm.
He's probably the one who figured out about the magic, and he's probably been using it on Kane. I don't think Kane himself is performing it.
Yeah.
His eyes became unforgiving marble orbs. Oh, eyes described as orbs. Take a shot.
That's me drinking down my imaginary vodka. Maybe I will become imaginary passed out by the end of the chapter.
Who knows? Even the thinning hair was frozen in stone. She gaped at the white mouth as the white mouth continued to move, revealing a throat of carved marble. Yeah, she is tripping.
She's like, whoa.
She's like, damn, turn into a statue. Oh, hush, Cadence. I'm sorry, she said. I'm not feeling well. Me neither. Shall I fetch you water? The Duke stood. Or shall I go? No, she said, almost crying out. Her heart twitched. Girl, get that checked. What I mean is, I'm well enough to enjoy your company, but you must forgive my absent-mindedness. I wouldn't call you absent-minded, Lady Catherine, he said, sitting down. You're one of the cleverest women I've met. His Highness told me the same thing yesterday. Catherine's spine snapped and straightened. Girl, get checked. I'm thinking that opium might be a little more medicinal than you thought. Snapping into place and
scoliosis intensifies. She's like, I need it for my headaches and also my spine that is actively disintegrating.
She saw Dorian's face and the crown that sat upon his head. The prince said that about me? The Duke put a hand on her knee, stroking it with his thumb. Of course. Then Lady Lillian interrupted before he could say more. Her head spun. Why was she with him? I don't know. I wish it were otherwise.
Like, is it really, like, not common knowledge that he's sponsoring Lady Lillian? Or...
I thought everyone knew that. I thought everyone was aware who was sponsoring. Everyone knows that Parrington is sponsoring Kane. She must do something to stop this. The girl moved fast, too fast for her maneuvering. Lillian had snared the crown prince in her net, and now Catherine must cut him free. Parrington could do it. He could make Lillian disappear and never be found. No, Lillian was a lady, and a man with as much honor as Parrington would never harm one of noble birth. Or would he? Skeletons danced in circles around her head. Girl! I have never done a single drug in my life and have no interest in doing so. I don't think this is what opium does to a motherfucker.
Yeah, like, opium isn't a,
hallucinogenic,
I don't think. It just makes you tired and, like,
I know,
relaxed.
Yeah, like, it's a narcotic. It's used for, or was used...
Unless she gets, like, really loopy when she's sleepy, I guess? I don't know.
Like, I know I've done some very cursory research on different substances for different writing projects. The most I ever heard from opium is that it can make you have very vivid dreams.
Yeah.
But she is awake right now. She shouldn't be hallucinating.
Unless she is dreaming.
Unless she is, yeah.
We find out at the end of the chapter, it's like, it was all a dream. And she's like, she wakes up, she's like, okay.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
If that happens, I will not be shocked.
Yeah.
You will not be able to color me shocked.
Yeah.
You'll have to color me bored.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But yeah, opium doesn't make you see skeletons.
Like, it's a pain, like, opiates / narcotics, those are pain relievers.
Yes. Like, it makes you tired, and it makes you, it makes you drowsy, and it makes you, like, it numbs you out, because it was used mainly for pain relief.
Yeah, like, it wouldn't cause this.
I read The Good Earth. I know what opium does to a motherfucker.
Skeleton. Oh yeah, I already read the part.
Skeletons.
Well, what if
fucking
skeleton?
It's skeleton dance up in there.
She's like, whoa.
That's some good animation of my works. Oh, my works from, like, what, 100 years in the future? It's like, oh, thank you.
But what if he thought Lillian weren't a lady? I know this means, like, noble, but I'm all like, damn, what being a TERF does to a motherfucker. We got J.K. Rowling once again trying to call a female athlete a trans woman.
Specifically a non-white female athlete.
A female athlete of color. And it's like, y'all know, there is nothing feminist about being transphobic, because it always comes back to bite cis women in the ass, particularly cis women of color. Like, scratch a turf, find a racist.
Yeah.
It's the Venn diagram is a circle.
It's just very morbidly funny at this point that she keeps, like, looking at not white women and being all like, that's a man. It's all like, oh, it's this again.
She's gonna start liking posts from transvestigators next.
Oh, she already does.
Oh, I'm not surprised.
She basically is a transvestigator.
Once again, you can't color me surprised, only disappointed. Not really disappointed in Rolling at this point, because I have no more expectations for Rolling, but disappointed that people still defend her and try to claim that it's not harmful to still be invested in her works and still actively paying money for products that she directly benefits from. Like, you know what, if you like Harry Potter, fine, whatever. You know, a lot of queer people found solace in that series as a kid. Harry literally comes out of a closet. You could, if you really tried hard enough, you could find some queer subtext and run with it. But if you're gonna buy Harry Potter stuff, please buy fan-made things that don't directly give money to the number one TERF on TERF Island.
Yeah.
Anyway,
back to it.
It's a short chapter. I have to find my rants where I can get them. Her headache flared to life with a sudden burst that sucked the air from her lungs. Damn, that's a really bad headache. I'm sure that the implication is that Parrington is using magic on her right now to twist her against Elisicles. Like she even needs the motivation at this point.
She already doesn't like this bitch.
So, okay, we're casting some more shade on him. But I'm just thinking, like, wow, that was some shit opium if you are having hallucinations and it didn't even get rid of your headache.
The migraine comes in.
Like, man, that sucks for you. I had the same reaction, she said, rubbing her temple. It's hard to believe someone as disreputable as the Lady Lillian won the heart of the prince. Maybe the headaches would stop once she was at Dorian's side. Perhaps it would do some good if someone spoke to His Highness. Disreputable? I heard from someone that her background is not as pure as it should be. What have you heard? Parrington demanded. Catherine played with a jewel hanging from her bracelet. I didn't get any specifics, but some of the nobility don't believe her to be a worthy companion of anyone in this court. I'd like to learn more about the Lady Lillian, wouldn't you? It's our duty as loyal subjects of the crown to protect our prince from such forces. Indeed it is, the Duke said quietly. Something wild and foreign issued a cry within her, shattering through the pain in her head, and thoughts of poppies and cages faded away. She must do what was necessary to save the crown, and her future. I sure wish that she was a more interesting antagonist in a more interesting book.
Yeah.
Really feels like we could be doing, you know, if Nehemia was the main character, and we could be having some, like, racism discussion around this point.
Yeah.
But she's
Alas.
not, and it is what it is.
Yeah.
And I just know that, like, Lady Caltaine gets so absolutely fucked up in the ending.
Oh.
Like, I don't think she makes it more than a couple of books, but the way this goes for her is just really mean-spirited and fucked up. It is, once again, women being subjected to torture and abuse to further the main character looking better because she, like, takes revenge on Parrington for what he does to her in either the next book or the book after that. I don't remember. And I'm like, or
how about
she could have agency.
Yeah, how about Caltaine takes revenge? I would love to see this bitch, like, with a mace, just like, it's clobbering time.
And, like, not every female character needs to be written as an empowerment figure for women everywhere. But the fact that both her and Nehemia, the only two other prominent female characters from the first book, both are subjected to such horrible fate in the second and or third book, it really leaves a bitter taste in my mouth.
And like,
I don't like that.
And like, yeah, not all women have to be, empowered role models or whatever. But you can't tell me that this bitch wouldn't like take any opportunity to get revenge on anyone who fucked her over.
Yeah, like she could be
like not every woman is strong, but Lady Caldane absolutely would.
I'm just sitting here like, why couldn't she have joined the good guy squad later? Like, yeah, she's an enemy now because she thinks that Alyssa is trying to get her man, and to be fair, at this point in time, she is.
Yeah.
But, like, later on, they could, put that behind them, and, like, she has magical powers, apparently?
Girl solidarity. I need it.
Like, again, I have very hazy recollections of the TV tropes, but, like, Caldane, I believe, also has magic. Could have been a really useful member of the hero squad, but nope. Can't have any other women being competent on this team. So anyway, moving on. Gotta take my rants where I can get them, because we're only, like, maybe a grand total of not even 2 pages from the end of this chapter already. Yeah. POV switch tilde. Alyssa looked up from an ancient book of wordmark theories as the door creaked open, the hinges squealing loud enough to wake the dead.
She's literally doing the, someone's talking about me.
Her heart skipped a beat, and she tried to appear as casual as possible, but it was not Dorian Haviljard who entered, nor was it a ferocious creature. The door finished opening, and Nehemia, clad in a gold-worked wonder, stood before her. She didn't look at Alyssa, nor did she move as she stood in the doorway. Her eyes were upon the floor, and rivers of kohl ran down her cheeks. "Nehemia?" Alyssa asked, getting to her feet. "What happened to the play?" Nehemia's shoulders rose and fell. Slowly she lifted her head, revealing red-rimmed eyes. I did not know where else to go," she said in Elway. Alyssa found breathing a bit difficult as she asked, "What happened?" It was then that Alyssa noticed the piece of paper in Nehemia's hands. It trembled in her grasp. "They massacred them," Nehemia whispered, her eyes wide. She shook her head as if she were denying her own words. Alyssa went still. "Who?" Nehemia, catch up, bitch.
Who do you fucking think?
Nehemia let out a strangled sob, and a part of Alyssa broke at the agony in the sound. "A legion of Aderlin's army captured 500 Elway rebels hiding on the border of Oakwald Forest and the Stone Marshes." Tears dripped from Nehemia's cheeks and onto her white dress. She crumpled the piece of paper in her hand. "My father says they were to go to Calicola as prisoners of war, but some of the rebels tried to escape on the journey and—" Nehemia breathed hard, fighting to get the words out. "And the soldiers killed them all as punishment, even the children." Alyssa dinner rose in her throat. "Nope!
Stop.
Do not!" 500 butchered. 500 men. Oh, I have not released enough epic brain rot on this channel yet.
No. It's alright.
Alyssa became aware of Nehemia's personal guards standing in the doorway, their eyes gleaming. How many of the rebels had been people that they knew, that Nehemia had somehow helped and protected? "What is the point of being a princess of Elway if I cannot help my people?" Nehemia said. "How can I call myself their princess when such things happen?" "I'm so sorry," Alyssa whispered. As if those words broke the spell that had been holding the princess in place, Nehemia rushed into her arms. Her gold jewelry pressed hard into Alyssa skin. Nehemia wept. Unable to say anything, the assassin simply held her, for as long as it took for the pain to ease. Once again, why isn't Nehemia our main character?
Yeah.
This less than 2 pages has me so much more deeply invested in Nehemia and the conflict between Elway and Aderlin, and like
moreover
everything going on with her.
If Alyssa must be the main character, why is Nehemia not the main love interest?
Exactly.
You want to know why? Tell me heterosexual bullshit. Anyway.
The heteronormativity of it all. You cannot tell me this is not some women-loving women shit.
I didn't know where else to go.
Queer-coded.
This is why Nehemia has to die. Because we can't have
Who else-
gays.
Who else could compare to Nehemia? No one, that's who.
No one. Not a single person.
I
Anyway.
am so pissed off that she dies.
Yeah.
Like, I kind of glossed over a lot of this during my first reading, but every single scene I read that has Nehemia in it, she is just such a compelling character. She is noble, she is fierce, she is smart, but not purely logical. She is still prone to being a teenage girl and having, you know, feelings and things. Like, she's so interesting. I wish that the whole book was about her.
But it's not.
I mean, she deserves to be in a better book.
Yeah.
I love Nehemia so much. Nehemia and Kaol just deserve to be in a better book.
Mm-hmm.
I really wish that this was just about Nehemia and Kaol and the political maneuverings and, like...
Yeah.
Like, there's a whole ass Fire Emblem game in there somewhere of the princess going to the palace of the king that is occupying her country and seeking to form political ties with a crowned prince who is clearly at odds with his father and his best friend who is the captain of the guard. All the while there's like this tournament going on, but things are clearly not what they seem with the tournament. And there's a lot of like suspicion, there's a murder mystery going on.
Yeah.
Maybe the intended target is the crown prince, maybe it's Nehemia, maybe it's the king, except the king's not there. Why isn't the king there?
Yeah.
That seems suspicious.
That's weird.
There is an entire Fire Emblem game going on here, and all of it is going on without Alyssa Glaze. You do not need Selena to have a cool story here. In fact, Selena detracts from the story.
She's getting in the fucking way.
She very rarely adds anything to any of the scenes that she's in. If you took her out of the book and it was just about Nehemia, Kaol, Dorian, Caltaine, Parrington, like, those 5 characters alone could easily carry this book.
Yeah.
And still have a very compelling plot and about 40% less filler. Like,
Yep.
The thing that I hate about young adult books like this is that it's almost always the lead that is the weakest part of the book.
Yeah.
That was true of Bella in Twilight. That was true of Feyre in A Court of Thorns and Roses. It's true...
I'm gonna say it. It's true of Harry Potter.
It's true of Harry in Harry Potter. It's true of Selena in Throne of Ass. It was true of Violet in... And I didn't hate Fourth Wing. Mm-hmm. My review of Fourth Wing is up if you're seeing this and haven't seen that. I have a full review of Fourth Wing up on this channel. And I didn't hate it. But Violet was probably one of the weaker aspects of the book. And
I guess it's because, like, people try to write these protagonists as, like, characters that are near flawless, except, you know, oh, they have a bad attitude, or, like, have some flaw that could easily be written off as, like, it just makes them cooler.
Yeah.
And they become like the chosen one really early on in the series, and so you know that nothing is gonna really like stand in their way for a good long time until like the end of the super long series, so nothing surrounding them is compelling.
Yeah, and
there's no stakes surrounding your main character.
And, like, for a while, there was this idea going around, especially in online leftist spaces, where it was like, oh, but if you made the main character like that a man, then that's, like, the ideal character. And I'm like, I disagree. I don't think that men who are allowed to be assholes and never held accountable for it and steamroll their way through all problems, I don't think they're interesting either. I think they get away with it more in the cultural zeitgeist because they are men, but I don't think it makes them well-written characters. And there are, as we see here with Nehemia, really well-written female characters in these stories. They're just not the main.
And like I said, Harry Potter is one of my big things of this. Like, even when I was reading Harry Potter, Harry himself was probably one of my least favorite parts of Harry Potter books. Because, especially like from the fourth book onward, he's just kind of a dick.
He's so angsty.
He's angsty, and like, you know, they have this whole thing where it's like, oh, you know, he's a Horcrux and all this stuff, and it's all like, I don't give a fuck. He's unpleasant to have as a POV character, and I don't relate to him, and I don't relate to him, and I don't want to like follow him as a main character. So it's all like, he doesn't work as like a, you know, a self-insert protagonist, and he doesn't work as just a protagonist.
Yeah, it's it's bad. And I don't have a cure-all for this, because theoretically you could have a character like this that works, but the thing is that the narrative has to hold them accountable for when they fuck up. And that is, not to toot my own horn, or also CarlottaStudios horn, but that is one of the things that a lot of readers have said so far in like early reviews and things I've seen for Shifting Roots. One of the things people really like is that the main characters fuck up.
Mm-hmm.
Like, badly.
Yeah.
With consequences. Sometimes fatal consequences for their fuck ups.
I feel like that's kind of the big thing, is that if a character fucks up, they have to have consequences. And also, your character does have to fuck up.
Yeah. It's one of the Pixar rules for storytelling, that the audience doesn't love your hero because they succeed. They love them because they try.
Mm-hmm.
And inevitably, in order to continue to have to try, they will have to fail.
Mm-hmm.
Even the hero's journey, the basic outline of the hero's journey, which I've seen some rebuttals to that I find really interesting and might cover on this channel in future creative writing lesson videos, because I have talked about the hero's journey on the channel before, and I'd like to bring up some of the counter arguments against it. But even just sticking to the basic hero's journey model, baked into that premise are failures.
Yeah.
The hero is not supposed to win every fight. Even going back to the barest script of a 3-act structure story, the hero is supposed to have that, the Heart of Darkness moment in the second act, where things look hopeless.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it's not an engaging story, because most human beings experience failure in their lives and are not going to relate to a character that never fails.
Well, and just in general, like, if you don't have failure, you don't have stakes.
You don't have conflict.
Because if your character wins at everything, then when the big problem rears its ugly head, you don't know what's on the line if they don't win.
This is why I ended up not enjoying both of the Nora Roberts books that my mom had me read. I thought, they were fine from a prose perspective. They had some interesting concepts to them, but I couldn't really get engaged with either book because the stakes were never clear. It was never understood what the protagonists had to lose.
I mean, given my limited experience with knowing what Nora Roberts writes, I don't think her books are ever meant to be that serious.
They're not.
Like, my mom had a bunch of, the dime store paperbacks.
I've seen your shelves.
And they're not my shelves, they're my mom's shelves.
Her shelves.
But, yeah, and it's like, yeah, a lot of them are just, bodice rippers. The stakes are will they end up together? Parentheses, of course they will because they're on the cover together. Um,
Yeah. Like the Nora Roberts books that my mom gave to me, because she knows that I'm not huge on romance.
yeah.
So they were more like the fantasy mystery adventure kind, but
Yeah.
even then there were no stakes.
Yeah.
It was more romance focused.
It's hers are purely like fantasy fulfillment, I'm pretty sure, just in general.
Yeah. But that was why I couldn't get into them, because
Yeah.
I went into it with more of an expectation of, okay, so the heroine has some kind of quest to fulfill. What happens if she doesn't do it? Is there's like always a deadline and always, something going on. I'm like, okay, well, what happens if they don't meet the deadline? What happens if the time is up and they haven't found the key that they're supposed to get?
Yeah.
It's not really clear what happens. The thing that they only became aware of a month ago won't happen. And it's like, cool. So they personally lose nothing.
Yeah.
It's just, anyway, this is an extended rant to pad out the runtime. And I think we've done that enough. So, Shifting Roots, available now. I strongly recommend getting the ebook version if that's the one you want from my Ko-fi, because, again, it's never going to run out or become unavailable. It's only $1 minimum price. You can pay more if you want to, but if you don't have much to spare, you can get it for just one singular dollar over on Ko-fi. There have been some issues with the Kindle file, and I want to fix that, but I cannot fix it right now because Ingram Spark is telling me that there are orders that still need to be fulfilled before they can process my new files that I've uploaded to try to fix the problem. So it's really weird to say this, but like if y'all could take a break from ordering on Amazon for a little bit so that Ingram Spark can get caught up and let me fix it, I would appreciate it a lot. Because there have been over 300 sales on Kindle. I'm so pleased and humbled and grateful that you guys have enjoyed this so much and so many people have bought it. Like, for the first time ever, I will actually be able to pay a bill using my writing income, which is all I've ever wanted, honestly. I've long since given up the idea that I would ever be a full-time author and that it would be my primary source of income, but just to be able to make my car payment or pay for the internet with my writing money has been the goal for years now. So I'm finally achieving that. Thank you all so much. It's a positive note to end this shit-ass book reading on. Thank you. Thank you for supporting me. There's more ways to support me down in the description if you feel like it. And we'll catch you next week with another episode of Throne of Ass.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for watching, and a special thank you to my patrons. If you'd like to see your name here or in the description below, please consider joining my Patreon. Your support means so much to me and allows me to continue making content. If you want to support my content in different ways, consider buying my books, donating on Ko-fi, subscribing to the channel, or even just giving this video a like and comment. Any and everything is appreciated so much. Keep growing till next time, Rose Garden!